Today, we'll be talking about something that's on everyone's minds, the Bloxburg Halloween update. This video will go over the release date, any leaks we have so far, what to actually expect this year, and all of the theories, including how this could fit around the upcoming school update because Detective Glossie is on the case. Hey glossettes, welcome back. How are you guys doing today? I know what you're all here for. You want the gossip on the 2025 Bloxburg Halloween update, so we are gonna dive straight into this today. Just like every big update information video I do, we're gonna start by discussing the release date, then the leaks, then what to actually expect to be added into the game that we know of, and finally all of the theories we have so far. And for the first year ever, this one's gonna be slightly more complicated than usual because first of all, last Halloween we obviously got a brand new ticket system and mini game, so there's a lot more to speculate about this year. Plus we have the looming school update on the horizon, which could affect when the Halloween update is actually released, like I said in my last video. And finally, it's the first Halloween update or seasonal update in general in the brand new map, so it's gonna be an exciting one. But let's just focus on the release date for now, which is also pretty much your favorite part of this video. So Bloxburg always updates on a Thursdays. This is the day they choose to kind of release updates, except one-offs, like if it's delayed it'll be a Friday for example, or the map revamp was actually on a Saturday because it was such a huge event. Overall, they always aim for Thursdays to kind of release anything, more specifically the last Thursday of a month or the first Thursday of a month. And this is pretty much just so that updates are usually kind of like as a new month is beginning, especially in terms of seasonal ones. Talking about seasonal ones, we can also of course use the previous update dates to help figure out the next one. The Halloween update last year was on Thursday the 3rd of October, so the first Thursday in October. The year before, in 2023, it was on Thursday the 5th of October, and in 2022, which is the furthest back we're gonna go this time, it was on Friday the 7th of October. However, even before this, they pretty much follow the same pattern. Basically, every Halloween update is in that first week of October and always has been, but I did have a theory that this could possibly change this year. However, as of today, Bloxburg actually did release a trailer for the school, meaning the theory I'm about to tell you definitely won't be happening. However, for the sake of the video, I'm just going to include it anyways because who knows if this will happen next year. So what I was planning on saying was if we focus on the other biggest update of the year, the Christmas update, this also used to follow the same pattern of being in the first week of December. In 2021, for example, the Christmas update was on Thursday the 9th of December. In 2022, it was on Friday the 9th of December. So just like Halloween, the Christmas update used to be the exact same and be in that first week, but this actually changed in 2023. So when they updated for Christmas, they actually updated in the last week of November instead, on Thursday the 30th of November. They solidified the fact that this was a permanent change when the same thing happened last year, and the Christmas update dropped on Friday the 29th of November. So I was kind of thinking, is it possible that this could happen with Halloween too? Now, like I said, as of today, this is extremely unlikely, and I'm going to explain why in this next part of the video. Before I show you guys my solid release date predictions, there's one more factor we have to take into consideration, which is of course the school, as the school's release date will affect the Halloween release date, so this is something we also have to pay attention to. I do have 2 videos now talking about the school pretty in depth if you're interested, but we know the school is coming in fall, and we know fall starts, well, this month. It's September now. It's pretty much fall. Fall is typically seen as September to October, and this is pretty much when we all expect the school update to drop, which means it has to somehow work around Halloween. Going back to what I was saying about the teasers, we actually received a teaser on the new school today on the 2nd of September when I'm recording this, which means we now have more information on when the school update will actually release, which we can use to base Halloween's release date around. We discussed in the last video how it's probably unlikely for it to drop with the Halloween update because it would take the focus off both of the updates individually and wouldn't really make any sense, so these two would have to be separate updates. And now we actually have a post about the school which says, and I quote, "Whilst we aren't ready to share when the school is opening its doors yet, it's still gonna be a bit. You'll start seeing teasers and development sneak peeks starting now." Bloxburg tends to post leaks on an update the week before it releases. However, when it's a bigger update, we can usually see leaks like 2 to 3 weeks before it actually releases, and this leak was incredibly vague, but it does confirm that the school's release is probably this month in September, just like what players had been expecting. This is why I said that the Halloween update probably wouldn't be moved to September, because the way things are looking, the school update will be then instead. If anything, it's more likely to be later than usual to give the school more time in between updates. Which brings me on to my official predictions for the Halloween update. So the most likely day for it to drop is Thursday the 2nd of October, just like it does every year. As per usual, it's also likely it could be within the week after that, just to kind of cover any big delays, and of course the Friday the 3rd is also possible if it has a smaller delay too. So the most likely dates are in dark pink, and the other likely days around this in this time period are in a slightly lighter pink too. Now at the time I'm filming this, it is the 2nd of September, as I've already said, and I know some of you will be watching this in a few weeks time when we possibly heard more news about either Halloween or the school or something like that, so if this video is now outdated and incorrect because we know more, just know I've 100% made a new updated one, so if you check my page, that'll probably already be up. But that's pretty much it for the release date predictions. Kind of a more complicated one than usual, but Thursday the 2nd of October does seem to be our day. But let's move on to the next section, which is leaks. Now I think you all know what I'm about to say, but we don't actually have any leaks yet. It is far too early. However, once we do, I'll be reporting on them as soon as they drop, so make sure to subscribe for that. But if you're interested in knowing when we should start receiving leaks, it'll probably be a week or two before October. But since we don't have any leaks, we're gonna move on to what you can actually expect in the Halloween update this year. So the first thing you can expect is for all of the map's terrain and trees to turn orange and update into their full color scheme, of course. Now this image here I actually had to make using obviously my neighborhood grass colors because we've never actually had a Halloween update in the new map yet, so we aren't sure how it'll look, but we can expect for it to turn very autumny, as well as the town being decorated for Halloween as per usual. You can also expect the likely return of the Plenty of Pumpkins farm location, but you may be wondering, where would this even be on the new map? Well, a lot of players don't actually know that we do have an event plot on the new map, so it's circled in red here on this map here, but I'm also going to show you how to find this in game. So if you go over to Bloxie Acres on this side of the map, if you kind of drive through it towards the back where the mountain is, you'll find this area here that I've completely forgotten the name of, but I will have the name on screen. It's kind of just like in this corner. Here we go. This is the kind of big plot area, so obviously this is probably where they're going to kind of put in Plenty of Pumpkins and anything else to do with events. Plenty of Pumpkins will be over there, as well as the haunted house if that also makes a return this year. However, we do have a few other Halloween locations usually added, which are the graveyard, the mini Plenty of Pumpkin stand, and the boba stand. And I'm actually not sure where these could possibly be added into the new map. Now the mini Plenty of Pumpkin stand is probably the easiest one to predict, as this usually goes where Boomer's fireworks would go, and this used to be obviously opposite Mike's Motors in the old map, but back in July when we had the new map, Boomer's fireworks was actually added into the new map, and it was put on this kind of patch of dirt here next to Bloxburg, so we can assume this is where mini Plenty of Pumpkins will go, or even the boba stand if they kind of switch it up a bit. But as for the boba stand, if it doesn't go there because Plenty of Pumpkins is there, the boba stand actually used to go outside of the town hall in the old map, so it could be pretty much anywhere in the town. I actually really like this little kind of grass space behind Mike's Motors, so maybe this would be a kind of like a good new location for things like that. And as for the graveyard, I have no idea. The graveyard used to go at the bottom of the mountain near Mike's Motors and like the river area in the old map, but of course we no longer have that space, so this is like so hard to know where they could possibly put it. The new map is huge, so there's obviously enough room, but we have no idea where it could end up fitting, or even if it's going to be added back to the game, which I think it will because it's a really cool location. And if they do bring back the Haunted Mansion quest, obviously the graveyard's involved in that, so they'd kind of have to, but I would love to see a revamped version of the graveyard as well. If I had to guess where they could put it, it could possibly be added near this water area close to Bloxie Acres, right next to the school location, or maybe even on Riverside next to the park, because we do have another patch of land over here too. But honestly, I was looking around and I just have no idea. It'll be interesting to see if they do add it, where it could possibly go. But moving on from locations, you can expect the Ghost Hunt minigame to make a return this year. It was a super fun addition to the game last year and so many players loved it. However, there'll probably be some changes to it, which we're going to discuss in the theory section of this video. We've also had a quest event in the game for the past 2 years, which we call the Haunted Mansion quest or the Ghost quest. In this quest, you follow Sabrina's instructions and make a potion so that you can actually see and talk to the ghost Helen, and eventually complete a maze inside of the Haunted Mansion to find a locket and reunite Helen and her ghost husband and then claim a trophy. It's very likely that this could return, or possibly a new quest in its place could return, but we're going to talk once again more in depth about that in the theory section in a second. And of course, last year the final little event thing we got was trick-or-treating, which was a player favorite, especially with the leaderboard, so we can expect to see that make a return too. Next, of course, all of the Halloween food and Halloween items will return, with some new ones added into this update. And finally, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for me to mention, we have the return of tickets, which will of course come back this year. Now I know a few of you had issues with tickets, but overall a lot of people loved having an actual goal to earn something in the update other than cash, and it definitely gave the seasonal update more of a purpose. Whilst I do agree it definitely needed some tweaking, tickets in the whole were a pretty loved addition and will probably return this year, but I'm guessing it will be slightly edited, making them more fun for players to collect and maybe adding more ways to collect them. But last year they really changed up the update and they gave the game a great base to then tweak and improve everything for the next year, which is of course this year. But this leads us on to our last section, theories, where we can really start guessing all of the specifics. Well, this is kind of theories and ideas, I guess. Focusing back on the Ghost Hunt minigame, I do predict that this will have some changes, whether it's features or new maps or even an extended map, I don't know, but whilst whilst it was fun last year, it did get pretty repetitive, mainly having the same map to play on as players learned where everything was pretty quickly. I do think they'll expand on the game in some way, and I'd love to see maybe some different maps instead of just the singular haunted castle map we had last year, or even just an extension onto it to kind of add more area. In terms of map locations, overall, because we have a brand new map, I do expect that although the classic locations like Plenty of Pumpkins will return, it's possible to see some new little areas as there's so much of the map to decorate. Maybe we could even see some Halloween Easter eggs hidden up in the mountains and kind of small little spooky areas. There's so many great areas of the map to add things onto. In terms of the Haunted Mansion and its quest event, it's important to consider that on top of Halloween, they're obviously working on the school, so I don't think Halloween is going to be insanely crazy. And if we get other new Halloween things, like them putting effort into maybe the mini games and the tickets, and of course a lot of new items, it's possible that the same quest could return for a third year, just like how the corn maze we used to have was in game for a good few years before they changed it. And this would give the players another attempt to get the Haunted Mansion trophy again. But of course, it's also always possible for us to actually get a brand new quest event too. We honestly just have no idea what to expect yet. Like I mentioned briefly, I think tickets will 100% be getting some work done to them to make them more fun to collect and even some more things to use them for, like maybe another trophy, because we all know the Bloxburg community loves trophies. I do think we'll be seeing at least one new event addition into the Halloween update, even if it's not like a huge quest. I love when they kind of do like daily quests, for example the elf one or the Haunted Mansion quest when you had to do a daily thing for Sabrina. So I'm really hoping for something like that, just kind of like a little daily thing you can do. Like I said at the start of the video, since I'm posting this video so early, as time goes on we'll of course get teasers and things to make it easier to work out what they're kind of going for. So I'm most likely going to be doing a second video, and of course I'm going to do a video every single time we get a teaser anyways. But one thing we always have great theories on is food and items. We know for sure that they'll add at least one new food or drink item just like they do every year, and of course multiple new build mode items. They actually asked us what items we wanted to see this year on Twitter back at the start of like August, so it seems we'll be getting a good few additions to this as they're specifically asking for it. And of course this will be a mix of fall and Halloween themed things. Maybe we could even see a new vehicle, as last year we got this Halloween car. But they're also, if you watch my update videos like this every year, then you will already be very familiar with this, but if you actually look at all of the seasonal updates, they all take inspiration from each other. For example, we got Halloween cake pops, Christmas cake pops, and Valentine's cake pops. We've also got Christmas pillows, Halloween pillows, and Valentine's pillows, and there's so many examples of this where they basically will come up with a seasonal item and then they'll make a new version of it for all of the other seasons. So if we use this, we can actually pretty much see where they might actually add more specific items, and one of the biggest ones that pops into my mind immediately is the plate. So last year at Christmas we got this really cool decorative winter plate, and then in Valentine's Day we got a Valentine's Day one, so I think it's pretty obvious that we're probably going to get a Halloween version of this too. And I did actually come up with a concept of one, but we're going to look at my ideas in a little bit. Usually I'd have quite a decent amount of other examples, but what I've noticed in the past Christmas and Valentine's updates is that they're following this trend less and less. In those updates we've been getting items that are more specific to their season, like the Christmas candles and decor for example, that are based off specific in real life items. So I think that seasonal updates are definitely becoming more unique, and I can't really see anything else obvious in the update items that could be used for Halloween ones. But what I can see is the fact that the Christmas update got a new furniture set, and so did the Valentine's update. So it would be cool to maybe see this for Halloween and maybe have an extension of like the Victor's Victorian furniture set that has like maybe some kitchen counters and cabinets and things, maybe some shelves, and maybe its own like doors and windows. Annoyingly, the same trend of stuff being more unique to the season is happening with the food too. I can't really see anything obvious that would have a Halloween version, and we haven't really got that much new seasonal food recently either, but this hasn't stopped me from coming up with my own ideas that they could add, and some of these are actually based on existing items too. So starting with food, I thought they could have maybe like an evil breakfast in the shape of a face. We have burgers with like eyes and the cheese kind of cut into teeth. We have Rice Krispie Halloween treats. I feel like this would be a good one for seasonal foods. We have a punch bowl that's actually just a decorative glass bowl, and you could click on this to add punch to it, or even bobbing for apples just like an appliance. We have spooky pizzas, cinnamon rolls, Halloween cookies, or lots of stuff like that. And I also have these carved stuffed peppers that I thought were really cute. I also have some item ideas like Halloween plushies similar to the Valentine's Jellycat style plush we got last year, a new pumpkin carving animation, and the ability to actually pick up pumpkins to make it more realistic, especially for pumpkin patch builds, a caution tape structural, witch hat decor, a Halloween themed plate just like the Christmas and Valentine's ones, a teapot, a more vintage truck, a revamp of the pumpkin latte, plain candles, maybe even floating ones like Harry Potter, and then a random list here like a takeaway coffee cup, herbal teas, more pumpkins, more candy, maybe even Halloween themed candy specifically like real stores do every year, a Halloween themed door wreath. We actually have this really cool one that I have on my door in real life that I'd love to see something similar in game, more realistic gravestones, a skull pillow, a lamp with maybe bat cutouts on the inside, spooky door knockers stalkers, a haunted dollhouse, and a creepy doll, and many more ideas I have. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas for the update. Hopefully, if we're lucky, we could see like one of these added. There's so many possibilities, and so many players gave such great suggestions under the tweet that they originally put out about it, so I have very high hopes for this year, but it's just annoying that there's not really anything specific that we can make theories on because of the fact that the last few seasonal updates have been so different from each other, which is of course a good thing, but at the same time, it just makes it harder for us to be nosy. But I'd love to hear all your theories and ideas too, and what you think could be added to the game this year, plus what you want to be added in general. This one's definitely a hard year to predict, honestly, but don't worry, I'll be reporting every single leak we receive and posting more videos about it closer to the time, so stay tuned for those. But that's pretty much it for today's video. Once again, let me know what you guys think down below. I know you guys have been waiting for this, but as usual, a huge shout out to all my channel members: Alicia, Comey, Peach, Milton, Ari, and Matty. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Plus all my server boosters, a huge shout out to Ari, Groz, Regame Riot, Piper, Scarlet, Potato, Carls, GamerTV, Z, Milton, and Denver. Thank you so much for boosting the Discord server. And finally, a huge shout out to all of my in real life merch buyers here who bought my merch drop back in February. Thank you all so much, and also I may be releasing more merch soon, so I will tell you more about that maybe, but I love you all so much, glossettes, and I will see you all later. XOXO, Glossy Girl.